If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time, or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from okay to very high. Know your sleep score with Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire. The lone wolf, who you thought was a good collaborator because you didn't have the right candidate insights. But once you hired them, it was all hoarding info, declining meetings, and howling at the full moon? But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can go deeper than just the resume to find you a perfect fit. By using insights from the LinkedIn network to give you a short list of best fit candidates. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
You know you need fiber for a healthy gut, but do you actually know how to get it? Quaker's been serving up fiber since 1877, with over 100 great-tasting, good source of fiber options to choose from. Whether you like old-fashioned oats, instant oatmeal, granola, or oatmeal squares, Quaker makes it delicious. So good. Get your fiber with Quaker. Shop Quaker's good source of fiber products at a store near you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Christian Moore back to Jack Goodchild on the blue line. He manages to get it wide to Jacob Minter. And Goodchild with the shot! And the Slough Jets are taking the lead on the power play with 23 seconds remaining. And Jack Goodchild is Kane Russell with the shot cross goal. No need for the save from Lorne. And Campbell has found himself on. And it's 3-1 to the Johnson Chieftains. They have it like Winkler. Hello and welcome to Zero Pucks Given, the UK Ice Hockey podcast, hosted by me, Ben Hyde.
And me, Katelin Norpiner.
Evening, mate, you okay?
Yeah, I'm all good. How are you?
Very well, very well. Just, complete random one that we've literally just sorted. This is live streaming on Twitch, which I have no idea what Twitch is. It's something new. We just thought we'd try just for
trial it, maybe, for next season.
Yeah, little bits of shit and gigs. So if you're on Twitch, you can, funnily enough, we're telling you this now, you won't be able to see it because we're recording this and then putting it out a little bit later.
Yeah. So yeah. You won't be seeing this, but we're trying it, trial and error.
Yeah. But just in case anyone's on there randomly, you might be able to see us live on Twitch. So, playoffs, baby. I mean,
oh yes.
No shocks.
No shocks at all in our division. Which, all the results have gone the way that they probably should have.
There is one that I'm actually a bit pissed off about, to be honest.
Oh. Yeah, this is new gossip. He hasn't told me this.
well, obviously we'll get to the games and stuff and going through the games because we're going to go through the Wilkinson Division as well.
Yes.
Now, what bugs me more than anything is that when these ties are supposed to be two-legged and they end up being just one leg, sometimes I can understand the reason. It normally happens to the Guildford Phoenix or something because, like, the Flames might have a couple of home games or something. And obviously that's Elite League, so that's to take precedence. But this weekend it happened to Haringey Huskies against Cardiff Canucks, right? Which is third against sixth. And it's been fairly tight between the two of them throughout the season. Now, for some bizarre reason, Slough and Cardiff was switched round. I know the Devils were at home on the Saturday night. So that meant that obviously Slough couldn't play away in Cardiff on the Saturday because the Devils playing at home. So they've switched that around. But of the two ties that you had, to make one of them a one, look at the games between Slough and Cardiff. After this 2-game demolition this weekend, one of the Slough lads messaged me. It's 73-3 across their meetings this year, which is ridiculous.
It just proves they get
a 7-game series. Cardiff were never going to beat Slough.
Yeah, never.
So that for me should have been the one-legged game.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could have got two really entertaining legs out of Huskies against Canucks.
It would have been.
And I think there was a comment on, because I know Lee Mercer had commented on our post about the results saying that, you know, that he was gutted that the Huskies couldn't get a two-legged tie. He was gutted for the Canucks, even though the Huskies won and got themselves through to the semis. He was gutted for the Canucks. And I kind of commented on, yeah, absolutely, you should have had a two-legged tie. And then I commented back to someone who'd said about, oh, you're blaming the Fire. It's like, no, I'm not blaming the Fire. I know the Fire have done everything they possibly can to try and make life harmonious in Cardiff. Because you've got the Devils, you've got the Fire, and you've got the Canucks. Fucking work together. For God's sake, it's 3 teams playing out of one rink. Work together to make life easier for everybody.
It's not hard, and like Ben's, like you're saying, it makes it easier for everybody. Not just one team. It makes it easier for the whole Cardiff, like the whole Cardiff project. That is what it's all about, pathways. And it was an issue. Well, it's been an issue, like clearly an ongoing issue for a while now, and it's just doesn't seem like it's getting resolved.
No, or have a little bit of flexibility in the times. Like obviously in the NIHL 2 North, you've got the Sheffield Titans and the Sutton Sting both playing out of by Sheffield. They managed to get round that. I think the Titans played the I can't remember who they were playing in there. They played at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's what you've got to do.
So work your way around it. You know, make it better for everybody so that everyone can have this fair crack at the whip. And as we said, we're being perfectly honest. Everyone knows we've got massive love for the Cardiff Fire. We love the guys down there. Shep's a great contributor. Obviously, Lewis Stevens has been on as well. Big Joe Riggs been on with. You know, it's not like we're digging out Cardiff. We're always right behind Cardiff because we don't want to see happening to them what has happened to them this season. But out of all of those playoff ties, they were ever going to win that one over 2 legs.
Never.
And instead, what's ended up was a pretty embarrassing 26-3 defeat, I think, across 2 legs.
Yeah. No, 26-2.
Was it 26-2? So that's, that for me, it's just a real shame for the Canucks that they didn't get a 2-legged tie against the Huskies, which they may have turned around, they may not have done, but it would have definitely, 3rd against 6 was always going to be more even than 1st against 8.
Exactly.
So, but that's my only real beef with the week.
Yeah, we hadn't had any previous conversation about that, so I was like, oh.
It popped into my head, and I realised that we hadn't actually like pre-spoken about that.
Yeah.
One. So yeah, it just pops into my head. But yeah, it kind of, you know, obviously it just is what it is because, you know, we can't do anything about that. I know that the Canucks have been accused of not turning up to fixture meetings and not doing their part where that's concerned. So like I said, I'm not blaming the Fire. I'm just saying
it's Cardiff in general.
Get your fucking act together because, and we're saying 3 teams, 3 teams. All them junior teams, all the junior Devils teams and stuff. You know, you've got a lot of ice hockey teams playing out of that rink. Fucking sort it out.
Yeah, you can make it work. There's no reason why you couldn't.
Yeah, well, look at Sheffield. I mean, I know they've got 2 rinks there. It's a little bit easier. But
still, they make it work.
Yeah, and that's exactly how it should go. So in the playoffs, then obviously we got I think probably for the first time this season we get a full 8-game.
8-game, yeah. I think there's been once or twice. Weekend,
obviously, which we're kind of saying should have only been a 7-game, but yeah, we'll roll with that. And obviously, people were new to the sport, might not know the way it works, so everyone's finished in the league, and then first place 8th, second place 7th, so on and so forth. 2-legged quarterfinal, 2-legged semi-finals, and then bang, Steel City Showdown, which is, you know, it's literally, we could see it there, it's blinking on the horizon, it's so close.
It's there.
Tantalising. Absolutely tantalising. So let's have a look at the games that went down. We'll do them in the time order of what they faced off, which is how they appear on the box scores for anyone who kind of follows along. With the brilliant box scores from Joe Scutts at nihlstats.com, .wordpress.com, beg your pardon. And we'll start with what was actually a tighter game than a lot of people were expecting.
Yes, one that shocked me when I did see it, I've got to say.
Very short bench Streatham side, though.
Very. For playoffs, I was expecting a few more players on the ice. Yeah,
but I mean, again, you would think over 2 legs, it's a big ask for Romford to beat Streatham.
Yeah, of course.
But I think what they done was they made Sunday a real game.
Mm-hmm.
This performance. So, and they took the lead after 11:27. Niels Maskelyns went unassisted to put Romford 1-0 up. And then we always get on about times of goals. Right before the end of the first period, JJ Pitchley levels it up.
20 seconds before. Yeah. So, it changes how the Romford boys are thinking completely going into the second period.
And then I think like had Streatham scored early in the second, you'd then think, momentum shift. Now they're going to go on. But Romford held strong, and then they retook the lead on the 34-43. So, I mean, we always love to see not only a power play goal, love to see a power play goal, but a goalie assist.
Yes.
I love seeing a goalie assist. I believe that was actually Max's birthday on Saturday, or Sunday. It was definitely his birthday over the weekend.
Mm.
So he got himself an assist. Shea Walmore put Romford 2-1 up. And then it's literally in a minute, Danny Inglesby picks it back at 2-2.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this generally, from a neutral point of view, as well as people that were in the rink, it must have been so entertaining to watch.
I mean, you have 3 goals in the space of 2 minutes.
Yeah, because literally, less than
40 seconds after,
he makes it level. Ziggy Beasley jumps up to make it 3-2, and that's where it stayed. So,
which shocked me, because from the sounds of that, you would, as a fan, you'd probably be sitting there expecting more like that for the next 25 minutes of the game.
You would, but my thinking behind it was, it's been a energetic end to the season for Streatham, and they have been short benched quite a lot of the time. So it might have been a conserving energy, saving the legs.
Save tomorrow. Yeah.
And then Sunday on our nice big ice at home,
we'll put the show on,
relax, play let the puck do the work.
Yeah.
Rather than, because obviously they know if they get through this, they've got a really hard 2-legged tie the following week. So, yeah, but it screamed to me of a really professional performance. Just got the job done.
Not scrappy whatsoever.
No, like I said, I haven't seen a great deal of it. Seen a few clips on the Streatham socials, but yeah, I would hasten to bet that it wasn't scrappy, that it was very neat and precise hockey. But full 60 for Danny Milton. Milton's been in and out with injuries and stuff for the large part of this year, so good to see that Milton gets a full 60 there, and a full 60 for Max Van Mullum as well. But like I say, I don't think. Actually, across the whole tie, with a Romford fan, I did predict the score, and I wasn't far away across the whole tie. But I don't think anyone would have really called 3-2 from the first. 3-2
on the Saturday night, no. Yeah, I wouldn't have called it. I was shocked to see it. But like you said, when you actually think about it, like, it is just, saving the legs for the next day, saving the legs for the next weekend. It's not just about that game, because at the end of the day, the playoffs is a two-day game, really. It's 120 minutes of hockey.
Yeah, it's a 6-period game, isn't it, you're looking at. So, like you say, to conserve energy at points of it is vital.
It's vital, yeah. It plays a major part of the playoffs.
On to Chelmsford. This tie was round the wrong way again, because the Swindon Wildcats won, obviously, the National League champions, starting their playoff in the group stage as well. They were playing at home. So the tie was switched around, and again, I think looking down the line of the stats, who was available, we look at some of the ways, the minutes the goals were scored, again, just a really professional
game. Yeah.
The second period is interesting. I mean, for running along, Chelmsford go ahead early, 3:45, Tom Saw. Before the 10-minute mark, Callum Wells doubles that. Ewan Morrison gets on the score sheet. He's been a little bit quiet since starting really, really fast for Chelmsford. Ewan Morrison's gone a little bit quiet, but straight back on it in the playoffs.
Straight back on it, yeah.
And then Grant Bartlett on 15:09 makes it 4-0. And then Chelmsford's second periods at home have been their downfall for so long. I can't even remember. And like the end I sit, that's they're shooting up that end in the second period. So we've got this one period, let's have some goals. And it always tends to not be the best through, which is really frustrating. But yeah, I mean, Swindon, fair play to them. Young Alfie Goddard getting on the score sheet, and then Luca Kirk-Brown both in the second period, pulling Swindon back to within 2. And then, as we say about momentum, if Swindon get that third goal, if they get that goal early in the third,
different game.
Yeah, man, the sweat starts to bead the inside of the helmet. You're getting a little bit worried, and obviously their young guns are going to be on and coming all around you, coming up like forechecking high, cutting in around from Gretzky's office and just getting behind you. That's makes you nervous. But it went the other way.
It went the other way, yeah. Not even a minute in, Ewan Morrison gets straight back on it, scoring at 40-50, making it 5-2, and then 2 minutes later, Elliot Dervish. And I think that's sort of when it hits you, game done for the day.
Yeah, like that. And that kind of 18-minute shutout at the end of the game.
Yeah.
That's the professional element of it.
Yeah, that's the saving the legs.
Yeah, the mentality. Keep your head, save your legs. Just let the puck do the work. Get the poke check, clear the puck, don't go chasing. And it's having that kind of mentality you've got to be so mentally strong in any kind of team sport to hold like that at the end. Let alone a sport as fast and furious as ice hockey.
Ice hockey, yeah.
So yeah, I think a really terrific home performance for the Chieftains that put them in a really good stead at a 6-2 victory to go on to the second leg at Swindon and get the job done. A full 60 in pipes for Brandon Stones. And then a man of the match for Ben Clark-Leach as well that night.
Yes, not shocked. I think if you go for man of match stats, I think Ben Clark-Leach has probably got the most of the whole season.
Yeah, I don't think that's on the top 10s actually on an IHL stats, so we'll have to look through that.
Well, some clubs don't release who got them, so unless all clubs did release who got man of the match, I don't think you'd know.
I think it's normally written on the game sheet, so it would certainly be.
Yeah, of course it would be.
Yeah, it would certainly be somewhere. So we move on to the champions. Again, a tie that was played around the other way because the Cardiff Devils were at home on the Saturday night. And this one, as we alluded right at the start of the programme, could well have been the one that was just turned into one game. It's just like, it didn't shock me seeing this at all. Sort of what I expected. Yeah. I mean, first period, I see a few comments on social media about the first period, about what's going on, why is nothing happening? But no, the first goal came from Seb Moore at 25 minutes, which that's the latest Slough have scored this season. Yeah, I mean the way that Cardiff must have played that first period. We'll scroll down very quickly and look at the shots on goal. 59 shot. You're talking a shot per minute, basically.
Yeah.
Throughout the game. So, very tough night for Gemma Davis.
Yeah.
But, a shot per minute. And in the first period, I think it was, let's look at the first period shots, 14 shots in the first period, no goals. So fair play to the way that they were defending. And to be fair, that's not as many shots as they had in the next two periods. So I would imagine that it was just quite almost like a system. They would have set up this defensive system to say, look, let's not get tanked.
Yes.
And for the first period, it's clearly worked. But then Slough is so good.
They figured it out.
They've figured it out and they've got round it. And quite emphatically.
Yeah, and as soon as Slough score, if you're a team that do concede quite a few in the space of a few minutes, they will score against you in that space of a few minutes. Yeah,
and the beauty of a lot of the goals they score is pure simplicity.
Yeah.
And textbook stuff with a lot of the goals that they score, chasing down into the corner and then flicking it back towards the crease, and there's always someone coming in. It's real textbook stuff. But hat-trick for Sebby Moore. Ollie Hemmings-Marr getting a couple. I thought there was another hat-trick actually in there, but there must have been one that went down to a different player. But yeah, as always, spreading the goals amongst that first couple of lines. Ed Cave Humphrey getting in there. He's been getting a lot of ice time actually in the last few weeks of the season, which has been really good to see.
Really good, yeah.
And fairly quiet on the discipline as well.
Which is always good to see.
Yeah, always good to see. As much as we do like a little bit of a tear-up.
Yeah, it just proves that people don't want to get banned for the playoffs.
Nah, absolutely. Yeah, of course. No one wants to be banned.
No one wants to be banned because it's just probably the worst thing as a player.
Yeah. And then we head down to the Groundhog Day. So much time for the way that Invicta posted that out on Twitter with the gif of Bill Murray doing the Groundhog Day intro. This has been the playoff quarter-final for as many years as I can think back.
I can't remember when it was then.
I think 4 years ago it was the semi-final, and it was at Milton Keynes, and it was a hell of a game. That was where I think Invicta were 3-1 up with 2 minutes to go, and Solent managed to pull it back and win in overtime. Bonkers game.
I just think even not playoffs, this fixture's always a good fixture to go to.
They're very tight, aren't they?
Yeah, they're just so similar in talent, quality. I mean, that's why they finished 5th and 4th. They are just so similarly set out.
Yeah, and I thought, to be fair, that with Solent obviously finishing just below, and again this tie I think was the other way around to what it should have been, because Invicta
it was
home on the Sunday, and I actually don't think it did Solent any favours being this way around.
No.
And only because when you go to Invicta, and the difference of the size of the pad compared to Solent, obviously the condition of the ice is not brilliant. We know that both of them need the best surfaces.
Yeah, both of them are probably the worst rinks in the league.
I honestly think Solent would have preferred it the other way around.
Yeah.
And been playing in front of their home fans on the Saturday and then going to Invicta knowing what they need to do.
Yeah.
Rather than doing it this way around. But, an early goal for Aaron Strawson put Invicta ahead on 5:59. Aaron Connolly doubled it up on 10 minutes on the power play. And then you can see it's a relatively quiet game.
Mm.
Connolly makes it 3-0 just before the end of the second period. But right at the end of that second period, Connor Hutchison brings one back for Invicta. And that's the elixir. That's the kind of thing if they can get onto that. But they didn't. And Danny Gatenby finished it off on 52-52, making it 4-1 to Invicta with a short-handed goal, which... Muzzle's not going to be happy about.
No, not at all.
Not in the playoffs, especially. So, and obviously we're going to get to it, as we get through. But that's a real damaging goal.
Yeah, it is. Of course, it is, because if you've got one back, two is a lot, isn't much. Solent have scored. I mean, you see it last week. Solent can score. Like so many in the space of 2 minutes if they wanted to. Mm. So not scoring after coming back out for that third period killed them. And then Danny Gatenby getting that fourth goal, it finished it. I really think the whole fixture was done there.
Yeah, and it's a gut punch, isn't it, when it's a short-handed goal.
Because you should not be conceding short-handed goals.
No, especially not in the playoffs. If your systems are strong enough, especially like your special team systems, shouldn't be conceding shorties in the playoffs, so they won't be happy about that. But for the Sunday then, obviously they face off at 5 o'clock down in Gosport on the Sunday, so a return, and Jacob Hammond puts them up early, and then again on the power play, but then it's that timing of the goal, because Cameron Pywell equalises like a minute and a half later.
It's just, Invicta had it perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, because, if that's Solent scoring again after a minute and a half, the nerves are rattling.
Yeah, completely different.
Yeah, because, there's one goal in it. There's so much time left to go. But, yeah, and then obviously Invicta go ahead on 13-14 with a goal from Dan Scott on the power play. Then 5 minutes later, Jack Peacock makes it 2-2 on the power play. So, again, we always knew that the game was going to be like this. There's entertaining games. The Sunday game,
all of the Sunday games would have been the better entertaining ones, because... you're fighting for
you know what you know
what you got ahead of you.
Yeah.
You know what you've got to do.
But then Solent do retake the lead on 27:05. So good, not only to see Mark Pitts playing again, but scoring.
Yeah.
Because he had that terrible eye injury from earlier in the season where he took a stick blade up to the top of the eye. Fortunately, he had surgery to repair it, didn't lose the sight or even lose the eye, which is always a risk. Great to see him back amongst the goals. And then Harry Cloutman on 53-45 makes it 4-2, and then you're like, come on.
One more.
And as it got down towards the final minutes, obviously they pulled the goalie, and then Jacob Ranson has netted an empty netter, which just...
That is the proper gut punch.
Yeah.
That is a proper gut punch.
It's like a double bubble, isn't it? You've been done by a shorty, and then you've been done on the next day by an empty netter.
Genuinely, I bet all of them Solent boys were absolutely gutted when they see it going in.
Yeah, and I got to admit, I listened back to the post-game thoughts of Alex Murray that the club always put out on YouTube, which are really, really good.
Really good.
Because Muzzle's such a good talker. He articulates his thoughts on the game so well.
He's so honest as well. He will say if he was not impressed. And I like that because, some people sugarcoat things, but he's so honest about it. Yeah, so where he's managed to articulate what they've gone through, and I think it's been such a difficult season for Solent. It has. I mean, you see the way that they just got fifth. They didn't sit there comfortably. They're normally fighting for fourth with Invicta, but they had no fight for it because they've had such a tough year. Yeah, 3 weeks ago they were in seventh. I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, everyone was shocked at that, I think.
Yeah.
But, you know, you look back at the season they've had all that trouble with the ring about October, November time. So many injuries. I do think they have been the worst with injuries this season.
And really unlucky ones as well.
Unlucky ones, yeah.
Yeah, the Pitsy one with the stick to the eye. Obviously, Callum Perella-Fox out with the collapsed lung.
Like, devastating injuries because at the end of the day, as we always say, these players aren't professional ice hockey players. You know, this isn't their job. They've got families. They've got jobs to go to. So having these such bad injuries isn't just crap for like on the ice. It's crap off the ice because these boys know what each of them go through on a weekly basis, daily basis.
And for what I understand as well, Sunday night's performance from Brad Winterbank was a game changer for him.
Yeah. I mean, that's why he was in my All-Stars team this year. I just think he'd had an incredible season. I think he's kept Invicta getting some defeats, put it that way.
Yeah, and he's one of those goalies, isn't he? Because there's a certain few goalies, and this is the ones that are revered by the clubs as being truly special. Goalies that can win games on their own.
Yeah.
And there's been very few in the leagues. You know, I think Jordan Lauday was always classed as one. Sonny Phillips was always classed as one. Chico Cole, absolutely always classed as one.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen them do it as well.
Yeah.
Which is bonkers. And then there was a lot of players at the end of the game that said goodbye to Solent as well. So there's going to be
there was
rebuild for next year. Now, I mean, I've not seen quite like a proper official list. And I've heard what Muzz had said in the post, but there's a picture that kind of did the rounds that includes Aaron Taylor, Mark Pitts, I think, looking at the number, that might be Jack Peacock, Dan Lackey, and Liam Coleman, who is going to play abroad, as far as I know.
I've also heard Connor Hutchinson, I thought I read.
That's exactly who that is. I think that's Connor Hutchinson.
Yeah, so you know.
And Mark Duffy as well. I think Duff's has only played once this year.
Which was the Cardiff game.
Yeah, which was like a couple of weeks ago.
Again, Duffy's just someone that you want in the room, like.
Yeah, and that picture does include Callum Perella-Fox. So
that could be a thing that he probably didn't want to, but when you have such a serious injury like that, it's not worth the risk anymore.
No, and considering obviously a couple of years ago he like nearly lost his jaw when a puck rimmed around the boards at Invicta and like took half his face out. It was. You sort of a couple of years.
Yeah, you sort of go through one injury like that, and then you go for another. I mean, having a collapsed lung, I think that's probably the worst one we've had all year.
Yeah.
Well, for a few years, to be honest, but.
Although the Harry Hatfield one was quite bad, remember?
The blade at the face, that was bad. But then you've got to think about it, that was stitched up, whereas a collapsed lung, he, bless him, was in hospital for a few weeks, wasn't he?
Yeah. To think, obviously, he had the facial injury and the collapsed lung, and he came on this podcast all in the space of 2 years. So
he's nuts.
But no, so obviously all the best to those guys in whatever they choose to do next.
Which just means a massive rebuild for Solent. But it might not also mean a rebuild. It could be this is where the pathway comes into work. Yeah. You know, you'll have some of the junior Devils boys that are so, like, they're so much good enough for NHL 1 hockey. And, you know, they get older. So maybe it won't necessarily be a rebuild, just a upbringing, I guess, if that's the right way to say it.
Yeah, and if Liam Coleman is to play abroad, we'll certainly keep our eye on that. And
yes,
he's playing because he's been a very exciting player in this league for a couple of years. So yeah, congratulations to Invicta. They make their way to the semi-finals where they will meet Slough, which will kind of 11-0 in the first leg. So we'll go up to the Link Centre then for the second leg of Swindon Wildcats versus Chelmsford Chieftains. Chelmsford having that 6-2 win from the Saturday night, and again, it was just thoroughly professional. Yeah.
Chelmsford did exactly what they needed to do both nights, but they did it better on the Saturday. You know, keeping Swindon at bay with goals, it's like especially this season because they've scored quite a few goals against the top clubs.
Yeah. Beat Chelmsford early in the season as well.
Yeah, they beat them. I see it. I was there. I watched it. So Chelmsford did exactly what they needed to do, and I think that's a response from the week before as well. I think you have to fight back from what the fans sort of were probably thinking after that game against Slough. You know, you've lost your place, you've lost your second place. Now you've got to go and put on a performance at the playoffs.
Yeah, I did speak to a couple of fans when I was at the Slough game, and I'd mentioned obviously that I was at the Slough game in Slough where the performance was so poor, and then the following night at home to Romford, it took a little while for the game to get going. And we said on the pod, you know, maybe the atmosphere was not quite there. And I was told it wasn't. The atmosphere was a bit cold and a bit frosty because of the performance from the night before.
Yeah.
Like I say, they've now bit back against the team that have caused the top teams a lot of problems this year in Swindon. Obviously, they went completely flying out the blocks at the start. They were terrific. But they've kept that roster together. Do you know what I mean? They've not really had a lot of injuries. They've not managed to. They've not managed a lot on the two ways. Obviously, Ben Clark-Leach has been. I think he's been
here, there, and everywhere, really.
With GB, and he's been the one that's holding them together. I do have a little bit of, I don't know if it's knowledge or just rumour about Ben's whereabouts for next year. I don't think we'll see him in NIHL 1, unfortunately.
Not shocked though.
But the I mean for Chelmsford looking through, Holden Barnes-Garner with a goal inside the first 10 minutes, and then into the second period, Grant Bartlett, Ollie Baldock, Jake Williams pulls one back. And then into the third, TJ Fillery, Cameron Bartlett, a shorty from Ewan Morrison, and then finished off by Tom Saw.
Job done.
Yeah, job done. And we'll give out get well as quick as you can to Holden Barnes-Garner, who took a puck to the face, leaving a lot of blood on the ice. So hopefully he's not too badly injured, and we can see him at some point this weekend, if not hopefully the weekend after, should they be available for it. So, yeah, congratulations to Chelmsford for making those semi-finals again, and once again, congratulations to Swindon for another terrific season at NIHL.
Yeah, I mean, just their second season, you know. I think, don't get me wrong, they definitely over-succeeded in the first sort of few months of the season, and that's sort of why they dropped off, I think. Not necessarily dropped off, but they had another cracking season, I think, this year.
Yeah. So, and then we'll move on to the Vindico, and in all honesty, I think the less we say about this, the better.
Yeah.
You know, 15-2.
Yeah.
On the night. And
I mean, it's not as bad as when Slough went there earlier in the year, but it's still really no good. 18-0, yeah. It's still really no good. And but I mean, it's 4-0 at 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That just proves the game didn't need to be played, really.
Yeah, exactly that. And that could have been Cardiff Canucks against Huskies with 3 goals in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the really frustrating bit. So, congratulations to Slough. They are very, very close to going back to Sheffield to repeat what they did last year. And then the final semi-finalist, who will be the opponents of Chelmsford, was hanging in the balance a little bit after the...
Yeah, this one was the one we were all waiting for.
I think this was always going to be down to the first goal.
Yes.
Because I think if Romford get that first goal...
They're thinking, like, the Romford boys would have been thinking,
They could really...
They would have been thinking completely differently than when you're 4-2 down on aggregate.
Yeah, so I think that would have made it quite tight. And James Warman put Streatham 1-0 up on 9:52, and I can almost feel this, like, sigh of relief at that goal going in, because no matter what time it comes, the first goal was always going to be so important.
No matter, like you said, no matter when it was, it could have been at the very end of the game and been a 1-0, but just, you know, pressure off the shoulders, really. Yeah,
absolutely. And then, again, they just went very professional. Danny Ingoldsby banged 2-0 on 16-19. Luke Brittle in the second, making it 3. Ziggy Beasley making it 4-0 with 10 minutes to go. Migas Canis pulls one back for Romford, but Luke Brittle finishes it off a minute later to give Streatham a 5-1 win. A little bit of, tetchy stuff, and there was players dropping gloves right.
Yeah, good fight, actually. Quite a good fight.
Yeah, Billy Coe is reliable for stuff like that, actually.
Yeah, he's had quite a few good fights this year.
Yeah, he has been good. But to be fair, so has Ethan Lane. Ethan Lane has got stuck in.
He's always got stuck in, but I think especially this year he's getting stuck in with dropping the gloves.
It's been a bit of a breakout year for Ethan Lane, I think.
Yes.
He's kind of shown that he's a multifaceted game, where he has scored a lot of goals and his hands have really, really improved and the speed is there. And now he's showing this physicality as well. He's a real hot prospect to watch.
Yes, he is.
So the Britton Division semi-final lineup is complete. And I think as well that the ties are not, again, the right way round.
Not the right way round, no.
Streatham-Chelmsford is.
Just
it's going to be in Chelmsford on Saturday and in Streatham on Sunday. But I think Invicta against Slough is the wrong way around.
It is, because Invicta against Slough, Invicta is on the Sunday night, which it should be opposite.
But that's a bit of a weird one, because the Spitfires are out, and so are the Mustangs. So what's caused that?
So what has caused that? No idea. And obviously, the Bees aren't playing this season, so it's not like the Bees are having anything to do with Slough's rink. I've got no idea.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, for a tie like this, where, I mean, it is level across the season. They've beaten each other twice.
Yeah.
Across the season.
So that could really come into...
It could do Invicta a massive favour, actually, having it stay round.
Like, could you imagine?
Well, we will certainly get... I mean, we're going to touch on the North results a little bit later as well, but we will definitely get some different teams there, because up north, one of the semi-finals confirmed is Blackburn against Billingham, which was the final.
Yes.
So at least we will have one different team from the north there this year, which will be either D-side Dragons or Hull Jets. Which
is always good to see.
Yeah. I mean, I have always had this little thing with the D-side Dragons, that they're like this little dark horse of the Morley division. So it would be great to see them get there. If Blackburn get there, they call that the M56 Derby or something. D-side against Blackburn.
Never had that.
They've got this proper weird little rivalry. It's not as stupid as your Brighton Palace one, but it's a real weird little derby.
Cheers.
But we're going to touch now through the Wilkinson Division and have a look at the results down there. And it starts with this game that we spoke about right at the beginning.
Yeah.
That just ended up being a one-legged tie, which, I mean, yes, it can create real drama on the night with a one-legged tie, because it has to be finished, so you've got the possibility of overtime, penalty shots and all that. But the fact that the games between these two have been quite tight across the year means that even though this game finished 7-2 to the Huskies and there's 5 goals in it, it's not over.
Not done. Cardiff Canucks could have gone to the Vindico the next day and completely just obliterated that score.
Yeah. So that is a real shame. But on a performance-wise from the Huskies, I know they've been packing Ali Pali this year. There's been so many fans in there. The atmosphere's terrific. They've got the Jumbotron, and
love it.
Like the game night experience at Haringey is one I have to go back and take in. I have not been up there for quite some time.
Also, just love Ali Pali. Just what a place.
It's so iconic. It's
just, you have to go there.
Yeah, I remember when we were sharing the pictures from the Great Southern Finals, when the playoff final weekend was there, and we were sharing the pictures from the commentary gantry that was right at the top of that stand. And you can just see all the arches and the brickwork and all the architecture of this palace. And people from, like, the States are commenting on the picture going, like, oh, my God, where is that barn? It looks incredible.
It's just, honestly, it's such an iconic place. And also, like, around this time of year, you get a lovely view. If you're going in at sunset, you'll have a lovely view of London.
It blows my mind. Because you can't see the palace from anywhere.
No, you can't.
I mean, if you're going around the A406 and you can see Tottenham's ground, you can just about kind of see it on the hill behind. But if you're anywhere near it, you can't see it because it's up so high.
Mm.
But then when you're up the top of that hill, that view is insane.
You can see everything. Yeah, I do love Ali Pali.
It's cracking. But and the Huskies gave, the big crowd in there on Saturday night. They gave them a proper show. And
they did.
Goal from Connor Smith, Stuart Appleby making it 2. Ruskin Springer Hughes, what a top player. He's actually had a couple of games with Slough Jets this year as well. He has dressed for Slough Jets a couple of times this year.
Has he?
He has.
That has gone unnoticed by me, I've got to say.
It was literally when I don't think he was actually there, but he was listed when Slough played Chelmsford at the Riverside a couple of weeks ago. I don't recall actually seeing him there, but he was listed. But looking back through the stats, he has iced a couple of times for the Jets.
Yeah. That's gone unnoticed by me, I'll admit.
And as we said about the Romford game as well, things we'd love to see are power play goals and goalie assists. Petr Cech gets himself 2 points on Saturday night.
It's great.
Absolutely astonishing. He's him and Jaden Balker assisted Ruskin Springer Hughes' goal to make it 3-0. And then Petr Cech was the only assist on an empty netter for Matty Ganas right at the end.
Right at the end as well, yeah.
I mean, fucking fair play to Cardiff. 6-2 down with 3 minutes to go and they pulled a goalie. So, fair play.
But the thing is, they had nothing to lose because that was the end of the playoffs for them.
Yeah. And that's because you think if you're 6-2 down in the first leg, you're not putting the goalie on.
No, of course you're not. Of course you're not. But, you know, that's what they had to do because, you know, a bit extreme, but...
But, yeah, the whole dynamic of that tie was changed by that.
Of course it was.
So, a full 60 for Petr Cech, 2 goals on 53 shots. And John Dibble took the pipes for the Canucks. 21 seconds total. Empty net. Are you too young for garage?
21 seconds to go.
But he had only 50 shots on the Canucks. So the Canucks have outshot the Huskies and lost by 7 goals to 2.
Lost by 5. So clearly it doesn't always matter about how many shots you get.
It's all about goals.
It's all about the goals. The ones that you can put behind the goalie.
So Huskies into the semi-finals, where they will play the Peterborough Phantoms. So
that's going to be a bloody good game.
Your Rising Stars took a little bit of a pummeling in Peterborough.
They did, they did. I was actually invited to go to that, but I did not go. And probably a good decision.
Yeah, I mean, Nathan Pollard, the guy, honestly, is such a good player. Yeah. He's like a cheat code at that level. He's the coach as well. And on top of all that, he's a really top guy. And he's put them 1-0 up after 56 seconds, and you're probably then just like... do you know what I mean? What can we do about that?
It's done. It's just done there and then.
So Matt Lauday pulls one back, you know, right at the start of the third period.
It's just too late, unfortunately.
Yeah, and they've been so good all season, the Phantoms, and they got pipped right at the last minute by the Phoenix for the league.
So they will want this. They will want this.
Again, and it's kind of lining up similar to how it lined up last year. You know, Phoenix won the league and Phantoms won everything else, and that is still on the cards. In the Wilkinson Division.
So it's just they will be so pissed off about not getting the league because that is what they needed this year, and so I think they'll want this even more.
Yeah, massive roster they had out as well. Kayla Paul, the only goalie for the Rising Stars, so she played the full 67 goals on 48 shots. You know, not massive, only 15 shots disparity between the two teams, which considered 7-1. That's not too bad.
No, it's not bad at all. I mean, when I went up earlier in the season to Peterborough to watch Rising Stars, it was a really good game. And, you know, Stars really gave it their all. So it's probably they have given it their all. It's just, it's not gone their way.
Yeah, which is difficult, you know, against a team as good as Peterborough because it can only not go your way for the best part of maybe 5-6 minutes. But by that point, the game's over.
Game's done.
So... then we'll move on to the MK Thunder hosting the Invicta Mustangs. Now, this
shocked me.
I thought this was going to be a really tight game.
I saw this and thought, no fucking way. Yeah. Like, wow. But this is the sort of result, that prove MK going down is exactly what they needed to do. This is the level they should be at. They've done so well this year. I mean, they had that 9-game unbeaten run. Was it 8?
I think it was seven games unbeaten.
Oh, 7, sorry.
7 wins on the trot.
7 wins on the trot. Insane. Yeah,
beat Peterborough, one of only 2 sides to beat them in the league.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's results like this that, you know, it's shocking. But when you actually do think about it, is it that shocking? Because they have done so well, but they've gone all guns blazing, I think. They want this.
I think Will Fry had always said, like, the ability is here. But we just cannot build the confidence when we're getting tonked every week.
You can't. And that's the sort of issue now that lays with Cardiff. Yeah.
Well, that was the comment, actually, that kind of led me to having this conversation with this Slough player who told me that it was 73-3 across all the games they played this season. Was the comment was 26-2, that shows they really shouldn't be in our league. My comeback comment was going to be, or does that show that you shouldn't be in their league?
Yes.
Because there's 2 ways of looking at everything.
It is both ways of this, because, I mean, I know we're going back to the Slough-Cardiff fixture, but Cardiff shouldn't be in NHL 1 at this moment in time, but then Slough also shouldn't be as well. But then when you do look at it, Slough won the league by... I think it was 10 points. Was it 10 points?
No, it was tighter than that this year.
It was tighter than that this year. Yeah. But Cardiff are bottom by 20 odd.
Yeah. No, see, I half disagree with your statement. I think that Slough are in the right league. I think they have players that are capable of moving up.
Yeah.
Which would be really, really good to see. And I kind of always contradict myself a little bit with this, actually, because I want to see the good players in our level go as far as they can. But when you see them stepping up, they end up like riding the pine. And it's like, you know what, you guys might as well go and play abroad. If you want to go play a high level, go play abroad.
Go play abroad, yeah.
And then come back and, play whatever level you want to play. This is where the pathway, as we always say, for British players has got to be there. They've got to get the time. And if they're literally running right in an NHL 1, give them some proper ice time in the National, see what they can do. Run right in the National, give them some time in the Elite League.
And that's what they need to do. But then it's the whole thing of bringing in more teams, because obviously you can have a pathway, but you can't have a pathway that involves different clubs everywhere. I don't think that would be substantial.
And I know fans of the Elite League will always stand up and say we're not a development league.
Of course not.
Which, fair enough, you're probably not. I don't really know. I don't watch it enough to know that you're not.
No, yeah. I wouldn't say it's a development league, but at the end of the day, the players that got there, how would they know if they're good enough if they're not going to play in it? If that makes sense. Like, you have 1 or 2 games to, give it your all, and then go from there.
Yeah. Whereas when you saw, a player that took that step in Brindley Caps, who ran right in the NHL 1 at the same season, was having a great year in the National. And he come on for dump and change for the Blaze, and that was it. So, did you really give him a chance?
Not really.
So that for me, that's the problem.
Yeah.
And I think people point fingers a lot, and they say, "Oh, you're too good to play at that level. You should be here." Well, but what if he's not getting the chance?
That's the thing. Yeah. You can always say, "Oh, you're good enough to play this level," but it's whether they're actually getting the chance. Because if a player is getting a chance, especially at a young age, to play at a higher level, they're going to take it. It would be silly not to.
Yeah. Before they start getting responsibilities like jobs and families and things like that,
you've got to do it. Go and do that. Yeah. Whereas that's where the sort of contradiction comes in, because we're saying it, but are they actually getting asked? That's where the contradiction comes in. Yeah,
because it's just a bit frustrating. Like, for instance, like we shared the post last week that Ollie Hemmings-Mars re-signed with Slough. Terrific news.
Great news.
Literally one of the best players I've seen all season.
Yeah.
As I said, I don't watch a great deal of Elite League. I've seen a couple of levels in Germany, and I think he is good enough to play at a higher level than the National League.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's good enough to ice 20, 30 minutes in the Elite League, but I think he's good enough and he's got the potential. Will he get the chance? It's not up to me.
Of course not.
So, will he be able to take the chance if he's offered it? I would hope so.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'd hope every player who is getting offered a chance to play at a higher level, especially national and then going into elite, they're taking it. I would hope, especially at a young age. But it's also it's not just whether they want to take it. It's actually like can they take it, because life gets in the way of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it with obviously with Ben Clark-Leach. You know what I mean? He's had a terrific season with the Swindon Wildcats 2 in the NHL 1. He stood in with the Wildcats in the National as well. He went on a 2-way to Belfast Giants as well, so he would have got that little bit of experience playing with them. He started for GB this year, for God's sake. That's the way you need to do it. And if that kid can get his head down and proper do hockey for a couple of years, he's got a chance.
Yeah, absolutely got a chance.
So we've sidetracked as we tend to.
Yeah, sidetracked. We were on about MK and Victor.
We were about MK and Victor. So Josh Blackwood, this game is 0-0 until the 31st minute.
Again, which proves that this is done at a very professional way.
Yeah, and when you actually look down, the goals are spread across 2 periods, but they come within 16 minutes. 6 goals in 16 minutes of this game, all squeezed in. Half of them power play goals, half of them even-handed. A hat-trick for Mark Canas, a couple for Xander Robinson, who is a fantastic player. I love watching Xander Robinson. So much ability. And then Josh Blackwood, who got the first goal for MK Thunder as well. But this I mean, I would have loved to have been in the dressing room with Will and Lauren and Tim and all the guys, because I can only just imagine the ecstasy that they were feeling after this result.
Yeah. But also, it looked like a pretty feisty game as well.
Yeah, well,
the discipline
it's always going to be, wasn't it?
Yeah, the discipline is crazy.
That's why I was hoping this game would be a little bit tighter, because Mustangs have got, some of these ultimate wind-up players and really good fighters, and Thunder are the same. I mean, Don Welthall is actually a bloody lovely guy, but on the ice he's such an annoying prick.
Honestly, he is like 10 times worse than Adam Lack on the ice. Like to be at the barbecue.
He's such a wind-up merchant.
Yeah.
And it was like when I met him, I was like, I just knew he was going to be the nicest guy, because when you watch him play, he's so annoying.
The enforcers always are really nice people.
But it was to be fair. I mean, we're going on about Dominic, but he's took a 2 and a 5 and
another 2.
But it was Brad Guttridge that took the worst one of the evening for the Invicta Mustangs, who took a game penalty for spearing, which no one wants to see that.
No one wants to see that. I mean, I just like, what goes through your head to do that, because you're gonna get kicked out.
Yeah. I think the last penalty is a funny one as well, because Billy Woods is not massive. Well-built guy, but he's not massive. James Bryan is huge.
Yes.
So to see James Bryan cross-checking him and then slashing him back with it, real good stuff. And the penalty minutes do make good reading. It's good fun. But the shots on goal, 35 to Milton Keynes, 30 to Invicta Mustangs. So it's clinical finishing that is the difference here.
It just proves that these playoff games, I mean, you've seen it in all professional performances, but it's who can score the goals.
Yeah, and I think that Marks Cannons this season alone has actually become MK Thunder's top scorer of all time. I think.
Yes, I do think you're right. I'm pretty sure I've seen that post. He has been their top scorer all year. He's had a brilliant year.
But it's a terrifically entertaining game. Not exactly what we expected either, but it's still a terrific
not expected, but
game.
Still very entertaining.
And then Bristol Pitbulls against Guildford Phoenix. Again, Phoenix are the strongest team in the league, to be fair.
They are.
And they've got players that are, again, almost cheat codes at that level. Josh Abbott, really accomplished NHL 1 player.
Very good.
Scott Bailey, very accomplished NHL 1 player. Won the league with Streatham Redhawks a couple of times.
Yeah.
Really, really good player. So they get that together. Their coaching team there it's been there for such a long time as well. And, the way that Potsy has them working and the systems that they're all set up. Everyone knows what they're doing at Guildford Phoenix, and it just works.
It just works, and that's why they're winning the league. That's why they won it. But no, it just clearly worked as well, just perfectly on the night. Yeah,
and again, a lot of discipline on the night, particularly Bristol took a lot more than Guildford Phoenix, but then advantage of that was taken because there was 5 power play goals on the night, all for Guildford, so they took massive advantage of that.
It's actually funny to see 2 penalties for goalie Morgan Parsons. I'm just read it and I'm like, oh.
See, that doesn't surprise me because he's also a wind-up merchant.
But it's like you're getting 4 minutes as a goalie. It's been quite unheard of this year, I feel. I don't feel we've got any. We've had, other than the Romford Streatham fight, don't think I remember any goalies getting any penalties this year.
It does happen occasionally. I think I've definitely seen Brandon Stones take a trip in, I think, this year. Obviously, they don't sit it, which is quite funny. Yeah, when I was sat next to someone who'd never seen a game before, and they were like, but the goalie got a penalty. I was like, they can't take the goalie off, couldn't they?
Take the goalie off, what are they going to do?
Someone else has to sit for it, but... Yeah, again, 8-2 for the Guildford Phoenix, spreading the goals around. And as I said, they were really, really deadly on the power play.
Yeah.
And then the following night, back at the Spectrum, they put the game to bed entirely 6-1 on the night, making that 14-3 on aggregate, so fairly comfortable for the Guildford Phoenix, and they make the semi-finals.
Josh Abbott just running the show there, getting 7 goals over the weekend.
Yeah, I think recently actually passed 200 points, I think it was for the Phoenix.
Yes, he did.
And then down to Planet Ice Gillingham for the Mustangs against the Thunder. the way that game went the night before, you're thinking the Mustangs have got to score first and they've got to score early. So I would imagine that it was actually a bit of a Mad Max Fury Road, like for the first 10 minutes, just the Mustangs going hell for leather at the Thunder. But everyone held strong, and then it was actually the Thunder that took the lead through Hayden Hagger.
A minute before the end of the second.
Yeah. But Invicta come out in the second. 30
they
seconds
did.
in.
30 seconds in, and then about just under 3 minutes in. Then again, Mark's Canin's getting the equaliser. But the thing is, it's all we say getting the equaliser. It's not getting the equaliser because they were 6 goals ahead.
Yeah, so you reinforce that 6-goal balance.
You've got to reinforce it. But yeah, ending aggregate 8-3 to MK.
Yeah, so 3-2 win on the night for the Mustangs, but not enough to overcome that 6-0 defeat. Another goal for Mark's Cannons that night as well. On the power play, really has been a player for MK Thunder so far this year. And then looking at the Rising Stars being at home to the Peterborough Phantoms, so a little bit closer this time. It looks actually like a pretty decent game on paper.
Good game, yeah. Looked, and I heard it was a pretty good game as well. But it was just, again, where it's 2 games, it's just not enough. You can't do it just on the Sunday night if you get absolutely tonked on the Saturday. But no, I mean, Peterborough taking the lead, minute and 19 in, and then sort of a pause, and then you got Chris Beckett scoring at 10:38, and then it's the response.
Yeah, it's so fast, isn't it?
It's so quick, and I will stand by it. I will say NHL2 has been very fast in all the games I've watched this year.
Yeah, I've not managed to crack an NHL2 game this year, but the times I've seen it, I've always been impressed with the standard. And I think that because we're getting this kind of cascade effect with players where the national numbers are going up in the National League and the schedule is so mental that some of these players can't commit to it. So we're getting these really good players drop to an IHL1. But then we're getting good players at an IHL1 that maybe have too many responsibilities to do that fixture congestion because you're obviously playing each other twice home and away. There's a few more. It's not a lot more games in the South because there's a lot more teams in Division 2. So I think it actually ends up being about 6 games different off the top of my head, without doing too much maths.
But when you think about it, that's 3 Saturdays and 3 Sundays.
Yeah, that's a lot of time.
It's a lot of time.
Family and work and whatnot. So we're seeing these good players that are playing in the NHL. Look at Haringey, Ruskin Springer Hughes, Johan Persson, Petr Cech, Courtney Grant, James Pentecost. And then, like your Oxford City Stars, Rising Stars, beg your pardon, Chris Beckett, that is accomplished an IHL1 player.
Yeah, Danny Williams.
Yeah, Danny Williams, really accomplished an IHL1 player. So it's been good for that league to have that kind of little thing. And then the Spitfires as well with Slough, because they've had a few players that do play up both ways. So you've seen the likes of Carl Bradburn playing down for the Spitfires. Carl Bradburn is above accomplished an IHL1. Yeah, above. To be honest, it actually for me, I should be saying to Carl Bradburn, you're not allowed to play in an IHL2. you're actually too good to play down there. So that's really improved the quality of the league this year. And obviously Peterborough and Guildford have always been so strong at that level.
Been stronger anyways. But it's the teams below them now, sort of closing that gap.
Absolutely, yeah. And as we said, MK Thunder have had such a good season, really proving that they made the right decision to drop down. It's teams like that you sort of think you do feel happy for, because they were getting tonked every game last year. They finished bottom, pretty much the same as Cardiff, but if not worse. But they've done the exact right thing. They've had a cracking season this year. No, not worse. They did win in regulation against your lot.
Right. Cheers, Dan.
So we'll look at the semi-finals then in the Wilkinson Division. It's going to be Guildford Phoenix versus MK Thunder, which again is a tie that's slightly the wrong way around, but Guildford Flames are obviously taking precedence.
Taking over, yeah.
Home. And then same with Peterborough Phantoms against the Haringey Huskies. That tie is also kind of the wrong way around, but again the Phantoms in the playoffs are probably doing a little bit more up in the National League, so they're taking precedence on that. So,
and then it's the flip side.
What do you think?
I really don't know. MK could beat Guildford on the night.
I
really want to
MK.
say it. But I just think Guildford will get through. It will be a very good game. It will be a very good game. I'm going to call it. I'm going to say it's going to be level on the Saturday night. And it's all going to be to play for on the Sunday, I think.
Oh. Had that first game been up at MK, I would agree with you. But I think Guildford are going to take a 2-goal lead up to MK.
Well,
And I think MK...
It's going to be very tight either way. I don't think it will bypass 2-goal lead, whoever it is.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really exciting.
I could say the same for Peterborough Haringey.
Yeah.
That is going to be a bloody cracking game.
It will be such a good game. And to be fair, I mean, they met in the playoff semi-final a couple of years ago at Ali Pali, and I'm not going to lie, it stunk the place out. It was a horrid game. It was awful. I don't know why. Nothing about it clicked. It was just an awful game. But the games between the two of them this year have been really, really good.
Really good.
Haringey are desperate to win a playoffs. Absolutely desperate.
But then Peterborough will want something too. That's the thing, that both of these teams are wanting something, and they both deserve something. You know, it's a cracking semi-final to have because they're both great teams. But I don't know. I do hope it's not Guildford Peterborough again. I do. But I do think
it will be a good game. There's no.
It'll be a good game, yeah. When I say I don't want it to be these teams, I'm not saying it won't be a good game, because it bloody will be. But it's just something different. But I do just think it will be Guildford Peterborough. If I'm wrong, I will be shocked. But I do think it'll be Guildford Peterborough.
I'll go the other way then. I'll say it's going to be MK versus Haringey.
Really?
Yeah. I'll put my balls on the chopping block and say it'll be MK versus Haringey. So we'll do it very, very quickly then. Britton Division. I'd kind of almost said I'm not going to do this because obviously my team is involved, and
this is why I love being a neutral.
Really annoyingly, I can't get to either game. I was really hoping to go to the away leg on Sunday night, and I can't go. I'm gutted. I think Chelmsford will do it.
Really?
I think they have enough. And I think Cliff's last hurrah has got to be Sheffield.
The thing is we've been saying Cliff's last hurrah, like they had the cup. Obviously, we didn't know Cliff was leaving at that point. The cup was in their hands. Tossed it. Second was in their hands. Tossed it. I mean, the lead at one point. The lead was in their hands at one point. Fucked it. So surely they can't do it another time for Cliff's last game.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I do fancy it. And as we said about the other tie, where do you stand on Streatham Chelmsford before we go?
I'm going to go Chelmsford.
And the other tie, we've said, because of the way the pictures kind of lined up, it's actually fallen a little bit favourable to Invicta.
Yeah, which is really annoying because I would have gone to Slough Invicta if it was on the Sunday night. Yeah. Can't get there on the Saturday. Don't know whether I'm going to be able to do Invicta hungover again on a Sunday night. I just don't think that's going to be doable for me. And especially with the next few weeks I've got, they're very busy. But this game, I do think Slough will take it. I've got to say, I do think it will be Slough. I think if Slough weren't to get to Sheffield, it would be the biggest shock of the season.
Yeah. But
I do think Invicta will give them a run for their money.
I agree. I think Slough would do it, but it's obviously not going to be a replay of what happened.
Oh, no. God. And if it is, I want to know what's gone wrong, because Invicta have done so well this year, short-benched all year.
Yeah.
Don't know for what reason. I don't think haven't come out publicly saying they've had loads of injuries. But I know we were saying about how Solent have had very short bench. Invicta have been short benched every week.
Yeah, and pulled off some wind. They've won
wins,
yeah,
against
Slough,
with 9 skaters.
Yeah, 9 skaters.
9 skaters, yeah.
They've been to Slough and won 3-2. Slough have gone to Gillingham, and Invicta have won 4-2 in the Royal Rumble down there that night. It was Why? I think it's an astonishing fixture. I don't think there'll be more than 2 goals in it.
No.
That's the aggregate, but I do think it will be Slough.
I do think it will be Slough. But Invicta, I do think have got as far as they should have because, you know, it is a shame to not see. Well, I'm saying this. We never know.
No, of course you never know.
We never know.
Over 2 legs, literally anything can happen.
Anything can happen. And this is what I love the most about the playoffs. It does not matter how you performed a month ago in the league.
No.
The league has nothing to do with the playoffs now. Obviously, only who you're playing against. But the playoffs is literally how you play on the day. Whereas the league, I know you could say the same thing, but it's a bit different. Sorry.
That was very quiet. I can hear this dog barking in the background.
just all my dogs barking at me. Sorry about this, guys.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it will be Slough across the weekend. But
yeah.
Invicta will absolutely give them one hell of a game. Or 2 hells of a game.
Yeah. Well, one big hell of a game.
But and sticking with Slough, actually, we'll briefly touch on a social media post that we put out this week because a fan made me aware of Brandon Miles' trophy cabinet over the past few years. And
Insane.
I thought, you know what, I have to go and double check all that. And then when I went through it, and I was like, you know what, people need, if they don't know this, they need to know this.
Of course they do, because I do think Brandon has the whole stigma around him that he's just an enforcer. You know, I think that's been a stigma for a long time around Brandon Miles. And, you know, when I first started properly watching hockey, like back after COVID, I sort of started properly understanding it. You know, I think everyone was saying that he's just, you know, this big guy who likes to fight people. He's not. And I think this trophy cabinet proves everyone who's got that thought about him wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we put this post out about Brandon, and it got, I mean, thousands and thousands of views, hundreds of comments, you know, stuff that we were really, really pleased to see. A lot of the comments were fantastic, very, very few, you know, negative ones. So excluding the COVID year, obviously I know there was the COVID Cups that were sort of done independently, but they weren't official kind of league things. 2019-2020 with Streatham Redhawks, an NIHL 1 South champion, NIHL South Cup champion, and NIHL South 1 most penalised player. Probably his favourite one of the lot.
Yeah.
And then obviously we had COVID, but then 21-22 with the Streatham Redhawks, NIHL 1 South champion, NIHL 1 South playoff champion, and NIHL 1 London Cup champion. 22-23, again with the Streatham Redhawks, NIHL South 1 champion, NIHL South playoff champion. And still with the Streatham Redhawks, 23-24, NIHL 1 South champion, NIHL Britton Cup champion, NIHL 1 South Cup champion, and NIHL National 1 champion when Streatham beat I think it was the Billingham Sharks.
I want to say so, yeah.
Billingham Sharks. Billingham Stars.
Yeah.
I think, or was it the Blackburn Hawks? One of the two, one of the northern teams. At Coventry. I think it was Billingham. So that was, and that is a real, before we had the Steel City Showdown, that was the first time you could actually say we were the best in the country at this level.
Yeah. Is
to win that Coventry game, which I know people have got their own thoughts about that Coventry game, but I think it's still a good one to win.
Yeah.
Then he moves on to Slough, 24-25, NHL 1 South champion, NHL South playoff champion, and again National 1 champion when Slough beat Billingham in the Coventry game there. And then this season, so far, NIHL 1 South champion and NIHL Britton Cup champion. Absolutely astonishing record.
Just couldn't make it any longer, like.
And to be fair as well, apart from the 1920 season, Ben Ely Newman has been with him the whole way.
Whole way, yeah, he has.
Apart from that 1920 season, so Benny's coming right up behind.
But no, like, I mean, both of them retrospectively just insane players, you know. And, they sort of both have that sort of stigma around them that, they do like a fight. But that's part of the game, that is a huge part of this game. And they do it well, but they also play well. They're not just there to, beat people up, push people around. They both get points on the board, I do think they have been, Slough's best signings the last 2 years. I do think they've changed. It changes the dynamic, just not on the ice, but also off the ice. Because they're just great people to have in the changing room, I think, as well.
Yeah, I know when obviously Slough came so close the last time that Stretton won the league, and then Slough fell just short in the playoffs that year. That going into that season, obviously they had the Holy Trinity in Christian Moore, Seb Moore, and Jack Goodchild. Jacob Minter, such a good D-man. Ollie Hemmings-Marr just getting better and better and better. Carl Bradburn, kind of pushing through as well. They had some good goalies as well before the return of Matt Smittle. The likes of, Brett Shepherd was in there, Brett Massey, Roy McGibbon getting a little bit of time there as well. Connor Dudley getting time. I know Connor's playing with the Spitfires a lot now. But to make those additions to that young team that had been together for so long and being taught to play the Smiths way.
It finalises that.
Yeah, then they added Brandon Miles, Ben Ely Newman, Alex Cole, Neil Lydiard. And as you say, the whole dynamic of the team, the balance is there between youth, experience, knowledge, power, strength, speed. And that's why they're so fucking good. Yeah,
that is why they're winning everything. Like you said, that is why they're so good, and that is like top tier coaching and recruitment, because that is who they needed. All them 4 players, exactly what they were missing, and like I said, it finalises the squad.
Yeah. And I know there was a couple of comments on there going, we'd put all these accolades on there, but missed off what a nice guy he is. But I said that kind of goes without saying from us, because everyone knows how much that I love Brando. Brando's had a couple of we've done a couple of chats at playoffs, and he came on and did a really good episode with us, and it kind of just, I think, showed a lot of other people, look, this guy is not just an enforcer; he's a very skillful hockey player. He gets points on the boards. He does the dirty work as well, and he's a terrific guy. I wish him all the best for the remainder of the season, and hopefully you'll be able to see him in Sheffield when you go up there. Maybe grab a little word.
Maybe grab a little interview.
So that'll be terrific to see. So then we said we'll touch on briefly the semi-finals up north. We did mention earlier, so it's going to be Blackburn against Billingham across 2 legs, and Deeside Dragons against Hull Jets across 2 legs. What are you thinking?
Ooh. I reckon D-side will take it.
I seem to remember D-side and Hull being the cup semi-final. D-side have won the cup this year. They beat Blackburn in the cup final. And I seem to remember it being a very high-scoring game. Yeah. Between Hull and D-side.
I don't know. D-side have, I think they've had a really good season. They won the cup. I don't know. I've just got an instinct that it will be D-side out of these two.
Harley at NHL North Updates, who does a great job for the social media, keeping everyone informed on the 2 North divisions, does his all-star thing that he does is so much more refined than ours. It's like a proper fill out a Google form and select the players. So he gets it, and it's almost like the algorithm actually selects the players that have had the most votes for that all-star team. So it's far more refined than ours. But and it was Jake Bukowski from the D-side Dragons who came out on top as everyone's top player of the year. So he's got now this couple of weekends to show he's the best player.
He's the best player. Exactly.
I think he was actually at Sheffield last year with Blackburn. So will he get
the back again
this year with D-side? And for Billing and Blackburn, I mean, these two have just been going for the last couple of years up north, just head to head all the time. There was, last year they did the playoff final, the cup final. There was, I think the year before the playoff final went to a shootout, and it was ridiculously tight. But the cup final, I think Blackburn won 21-6 or something. It was a ridiculous
result. Crazy.
And I think and Blackburn have been very, very good this year.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can predict this one.
Well, to be fair, I was shocked to see Billingham get through Telford Tigers, considering they were 4-3 down after the first leg as well. They proper turned up on their home leg and done. But yeah,
I will predict it because I predicted Stratton Chelmsford. You go first.
I think Blackburn.
Yeah, I was going to say Blackburn. I do think Blackburn.
Yeah, Blackburn have been really strong.
Really good this year, yeah.
Really good recruitment as well, considering obviously they lost Jake Bukowski. there was rumours of them moving national, which...
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think they've recruited really well and they've had a really good season. Won the league incredibly early before the cup final. Won the league.
Yeah, I think that's way too early. I do, because there's no excitement for nothing.
No, I mean, there was everyone qualified for the playoffs, and I think the places were all secured 5 weeks before the end of the season.
What's the point of playing?
But the playoffs have been quite exciting, to be fair.
Yeah, of course.
From the League division. But yeah, I think Blackburn will have enough against Billingham.
I do.
And then another player for you to make sure you grab a few words with is Dylan Hullaby.
Yeah, cool.
You know the Bulldozer, of course, from Oxford.
Yeah, of course. So, if I get if he is there, obviously I'll have a chat with him because, sort of know each other from Oxford.
Yeah, to be fair, it's as much as I do say, it would be great to have different teams at the Steel City Showdown rather than the same all over again. The two sets of fans of Blackburn and Billingham are terrific.
Brilliant, yeah. They
travelled in large numbers last year down to Sheffield. And everyone was so friendly. All the Billingham guys, they really know how to party. Their goal song it's amazing the way it goes off when they score and all the crowd get involved in the goal song. It's bugging me that I can't actually remember it. But I know that it just fucking goes off when they score. It's a really, really good goal song. And all the Blackburn fans were so cool. I think Alex Oldale, who's used to play for Blackburn, is now at Manchester Storm.
Storm, yeah.
Was down there before. So at Sheffield last year, had a lovely time with the Blackburn fans and meeting Jamie McElroy, who's been on the podcast, who's of course the GM at Sheffield Steel Dogs. It all happens in their home. All lovely people and just getting FOMO that I'm not going to be there. So.
I am though.
But yeah, I think Blackburn D-side. I think it could be a really, really good final.
Yeah, I think that would be a good final. Imagine we've just got this completely wrong.
Well, as you said, who knows? This is just our
anything
opinion.
Can happen.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. Yeah.
As we always say, if you don't like our opinion, share your own.
Yeah.
Just stick it in the comments. If
brilliant. No, please. We always want feedback. Not even feedback. We just want someone to sort of argue at us so we can not argue back, but
Yeah, to be fair, the feedback has been really, really good recently. We've had
a few.
We know obviously since you've joined, the dynamic of the podcast has changed a little bit, and we've had a lot of great feedback on that, which has been really, really good.
Yeah, always really nice to hear.
Social media numbers have been insane. Getting thousands of views on all the posts and all the likes and the share.
Which for a girl that is dedicated to social media is just like heaven.
But as we always say, if you listen to the episode and you enjoy the episode, please share it and let people know where you've heard it and where they can find it. We are, of course, on the Sports Social Podcast Network, which is the largest sport podcast network in Europe. So always so proud to be a massive part of that. And we do kind of get out in other places. Obviously, you've been doing your little bit of social media stuff with Wycombe Wanderers.
Yeah, I do get out and about.
I was on BBC Essex earlier this week talking about Chelmsford Chieftains making the playoff semi-finals. So we've kind of...
Hope you weren't 2 beers in that time.
No, it was the first time in 2 years that I've been in the UK when I've done that. Normally when they call me and they're like, oh, can you come and talk about Chelmsford? I'm like, yeah, but I was in Fuerteventura and I was in Austria and I was in Germany.
You were in Germany, yeah.
I've always had a beer every single time.
Yeah.
Trying to sort of keep it together.
I've got to say, for our episode after Steel City Showdown, I will be in Fiorentina.
You will be, won't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I will be in Italy. So, might have the sun in in the last episode of this season.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Well, anyway, as always, mate, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, and yours, Ben, and yours.
Headed into a cracking semi-final weekend, and then it's here. The Steel City Showdown.
What I've been waiting for.
See you next week.
See you next week.